Welcome to EraTech. May you live in interesting times, they say. These times are indeed interesting and perhaps even spooky. The American empire as we know it is changing. One of the key principles at play is Gresham's law, which states that bad money drives out good money. Right now, the US dollar, what I often refer to as toilet paper, is the bad money. The good money? Silver and gold. In 1971, the US took the gold out of the dollar, and in 1964, they removed silver from our coins. Today, Gresham's law is in full effect. For decades, America has played the role of the global bully, using its position as the reserve currency of the world. But the rest of the world is waking up. We've become a credit-based economy, printing fake money and spreading it globally, while other nations produce the essential goods: food, gold, silver, machinery. At some point, the world said, enough. The BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, first came together, and now they're gaining momentum. What started as a coalition of 5 countries, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, has grown. Now there are over a dozen nations applying to join, including Argentina, Algeria, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and many others. This is not just about economic power, it's about military strength too. These countries are coming together, distancing themselves from the Western economic system and building new, mutually beneficial alliances. One of the driving forces behind this shift is the weaponization of the US dollar. The SWIFT system has allowed America to control global transactions, but if you get kicked out of SWIFT, you can't access dollars for trade, especially for vital resources like oil. Just look at Russia. When they were cut off from SWIFT, they started trading in rubles, yuan, and gold, bypassing the dollar. The Belt and Road Initiative is one of the most significant global projects in history. This vast network of trade routes, both land and sea, connects countries across Eurasia and beyond. It's a challenge to the dominance of the Western-dominated trade routes. Nations are working together, building infrastructure and reducing reliance on the US-controlled systems. China is at the center of many of these changes. They've brokered historic deals like the Iran-Saudi Arabia agreement and the unprecedented rail connections between Iran and Iraq. This growing influence isn't just economic, it's diplomatic, as China helps foster collaboration between countries that were previously at odds, like Iran and Saudi Arabia. As more countries join the BRICS and the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, we're witnessing the end of US dollar hegemony. These nations are moving away from the dollar system, and they're doing it with the backing of real commodities: gold, oil, and agricultural products. The US has been sending out fake money, while the rest of the world is producing real value. The world is ready for a new system based on mutual benefit. When these nations fully break free from the dollar system, they will be able to operate in a way that benefits everyone. With transparency, real currency backing, and true cooperation, the West's days of hegemony will be over. The US has abused its position for too long, but the world is now moving towards a future where the US dollar is no longer needed to conduct global trade. What we're witnessing right now is the West losing its grip on global influence. For the first time in history, countries that were once unable to stand up to the West are coming together. And the dollar, once the king of global finance, is facing serious competition. This coalition of nations, working together for mutual benefit, includes countries that have long been enemies like Iraq and Iran, or Saudi Arabia and Iran, now finding common ground. Even the most bitter rivals are starting to see the value in cooperation. This is the core idea behind organizations like BRICS, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and the Belt and Road Initiative. It's about forming a united front against the West, where countries are pledging commodities, like gold or oil, as a backbone to the new system. They are moving away from the Western financial system, using blockchain and distributed ledger technology to verify these commodities. Imagine if Mexico were to join BRICS. Mexico, the second largest economy in Latin America, is already a major trading partner with the United States. If it joins BRICS, it could use a new settlement currency and shift alliances. This might mean military cooperation as well. Picture Russian and Chinese military bases just outside Texas. Although it's hypothetical, It gives a clear picture of what Russia feels when NATO encroaches. If Mexico and other nations adopt a new currency and move away from the US dollar, the impact will be massive. A new currency, possibly backed by commodities like gold, could replace the dollar in global trade. The US might have to pivot and back its currency with gold, or risk becoming irrelevant in a new global financial system. Recently, Janet Yellen was asked if smaller regional banks would get bailed out if they failed, and her response was unsettling. The fact is, unless a bank is too big to fail, the government may not step in. This raises fears for people with deposits in regional banks who are now worried about the safety of their money. Under the current system, we're heading towards a Marxist model of money where governments just print more money to solve economic problems. But this won't work in a globalized economy, where nations can just choose not to use the US dollar anymore. The world is shifting towards a commodity-backed system, gold being at the heart of it. As the Bank of International Settlements, BIS, is now recognizing gold as money, countries are moving ahead of the West, accumulating real assets like gold and using them to back a new financial system. This is what the Western world doesn't realize. They're already behind the curve. The real question is, what will the US do when the rest of the world stops using the dollar? For those who are holding wealth in dollars, it's crucial to rethink how you save. Gold and silver are some of the only assets that aren't someone else's liability. They are real, tangible assets that can weather financial storms. It's better to hold physical assets and remove counterparty risk rather than rely on a system that's rapidly falling apart. And that's exactly why I've invested heavily in gold myself. Last year, I bought the largest gold mine in America. This is not just talk, it's action. I'm literally mining my own gold to protect my wealth.